Welcome to the Ken Hill Substack. I want to talk about apexes. And it might seem like that is a pretty simple thing to be talking about, but let me start off with a story that'll get us going with this. So I've been at New Jersey Motorsports Park quite a bit the last month, and I was out there about a week and a half ago riding, and first session out lap, and a bunch of us kind of take off together. And yeah, it's a nice day out. It's not warm, it's not cold, crisp day, but the track is repaved. It's got great grip. Not worried about that. And go out, and a rider goes by me in turn between 3 and 4, misses apex in 4, misses apex in 5, and I thought, wow, this guy's getting after it on the outlap. A lot of lean angle. And when I say a lot of lean angle for not necessarily the outlap, but for his pace. And yeah, because he's missing apexes, he's going to run more lean angle. So we come off a 5, accelerate a 6. He's getting ahead of us a little bit. I misses apex in 6, misses apex in 7, and high sides in turn 9. Day over. Breaks his collarbone, ruins his bike. Done. Didn't even make it a lap. And I thought, what? Literally, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? Getting around the track quickly and not being precise is, I don't get it. So that was kind of a little bit of a reminder about apexes and why apexes are important, because it's not just being close to the apex that's important. It's what the apex tells you. There's so much information to be taken from the apex. So really that's what we're going to talk about, and give you some things, and we're going to draw some things out for you as well. So all right, let's get into it. Yeah, apexes. Sounds simple. There's a lot. I make a joke, right? There's a lot of things that I compromise on in life. I do not compromise on apexes, because I've seen so many. I've seen so many people be frustrated or plateau or wanting to go quicker. We all want to go quicker. I want to go quicker, but their precision isn't good, right? So building on that precision, and the real cornerstone of that is apexes. So when I see people missing apexes, it tells me that they just don't have a clear understanding of what it takes to get around the racetrack as quickly as possible. And as I mentioned, apexes aren't about just about how close you get to them. There are a massive amount of objectives and report cards that go along with these apexes that help take us through this journey. Apexes, think of apexes as your information center, right? If you've got 15 corners, you have 15 opportunities per lap that tell us, how am I doing? And I want to know how I'm doing, because I want to get better and I want to be fast. I want a better lap time. So what the apexes tell us is simply what our trajectory is, right? Are we literally on the right line? And more specifically, are we on the right line to go faster and to do it safer as well? What control you should be using. So depending on if it's an entry corner or an exit corner or a balance corner, we can determine based on what control we're using at the apex. And right there, that shortcuts. Oh my gosh, that shortcuts things right there. So huge there, where your slow point is. So again, apex tells us in relation to where the slow point is, right? Exit corner, the slow point comes early. Entry corner, slow point comes late. Balance corner, slow point can be variable. It tells you where your eyes should be, right? So at the apex, if it's an entry corner, are you looking for the slow point? If it's an exit corner, are you looking for your exit apex? So we'll talk about that, how much neutral throttle you should have, what your body should be doing, and of course, what you should be doing with either steering wheel angle or lean angle. So that's what we're going to get into quite a bit here. So the first thing that I want to talk about with apexes is, let's make sure that we're defining apexes, right? So apex, the first part of this is there's two apexes. So when we talk about apexes, I'm thinking of my entry apex, the closest portion to the inside part of the track you come, as well as my exit apex, the closest portion to the outside part of the track you come. I feel it's a lot easier to say entry apex and exit apex because it's just more definitive, right? It's more defined. instead of saying track out point or something along those lines. So, or where you end up, right? So I want to be very deliberate on my entry apex and my exit apex, and that's why we're going to differentiate those two. So for the most of this talk, we're going to be talking about our entry apex, and of course the report cards and things that go along with it. So, all right, let's talk about the importance of hitting apexes, right? The importance of hitting apexes, it's the best geometrical line through the corner, right? In other words, it's the fastest line through the corner, the one that you're going to carry the most speed, the one that you're going to be able to carry also the least amount of risk. So getting your apex correctly for that particular radius will get you through that corner quicker and safer. Yeah, I just mentioned it, right? Decreased lap time. Yeah, here's one, stability, right? You're going to have a more stable vehicle hitting your apex. And what that means is you're putting the forces in it at the right time. So having the right brake pressure, having the right amount of throttle and steering applications, you're going to have a more stable platform by hitting your apexes. Also provides clean data. This is where consistency comes from. It is we need clean data. And if we're not hitting our apexes, that's not clean data. So if we want good data to be able to come back and review and critique, this is where it comes from. And I already mentioned a little bit, which is safety. So yeah, I mean, we want to run maximum lean angle for the least amount of time. And that relation to where it's at the apex is pretty huge. Yeah, I mean, consequences of missing apexes, we can kind of figure that out, right? Which is inconsistent speed, decreased lap times. Another interesting one is increased tire wear. So, by running either too much steering wheel angle or lean angle for too long, you're going to wear your tires out more. So, yeah, I think that's another big point, right? Is increased tire wear, increased risk. How about this? You're going to get passed. So you're missing apexes, you're going to get passed. So, yeah, I mean, in racing, very, very rarely are they missing apexes. And it's typically the ones that are trying to miss the apexes, and then they get re-overtaken. Yeah, and then the last one there, quite honestly, is essentially the poor data collection, right? So we're not, if we're not running the same line, we're not running the same apex, we're being inconsistent. How do we know if the data is any good? So yeah, a lot to be had there with apexes. So let's get into what some of the symptoms are and how to correct them. And for that, let's just bring up track map. So in this case, we're bringing up New Jersey Motorsports Park. We're bringing up turn 1. It could be any track anywhere. It doesn't matter. And this is actually before the repave, but that's okay. So normally when we look at this view, we look at it from overhead and we're like, okay, cool, right? Let's put in some apexes and let's draw, let's just draw some stuff out. So we're going to put some apexes here. This is cool, right? And here we're going to run 2 apex cones. We'll talk about that. Awesome. We're going to start drawing out. Well, I'd like to do this a little bit differently. And I'd like to do this because I think your perspective on this will change when we look at this corner a little bit differently. So let's look at it from this perspective, kind of like your rider's perspective. And I think when you look at it from this perspective, it is absolutely going to highlight some of these things. So, all right, let's put in some apexes. And when I mean put in some apexes, when I went to the Freddie Spencer school and then Yamaha school, I was introduced to the two cone apex system. And it really is, it changes your complete perspective on how the sport works. I mean, it'd be very difficult, honestly, to do this sport well without having this system. So amazing that I got introduced to this and that it was developed. Awesome. So we use 2 apex cones. And the reason that we use 2 apex cones, and I'm just going to kind of draw them out here, and the apex ends up being, we've got 2. The actual apex is sort of in the middle of those 2 cones. And the idea is we want to be parallel with those cones. So we want to be parallel with them because that tells us our trajectory is correct. And I can guarantee if you get that correctly, your exit just takes care of itself. Done. It just does. So this goes back to, yes, I am uncompromising with this because it's a free exit when this happens, and it's free safety. It's free throttle application when this happens. And yeah, the whole idea is we want to be parallel with the apex, parallel with the apex cones, and that gives us the good trajectory. So now we can look at this a little bit and say, okay, well, what if we do it wrong? And what does that mean? Well, let's say we come in early and we apex closer to the first cone, and now we're getting to our exit with lean angle, right? That's very difficult to add speed to, right? We end up having to run lean angle out here. We have to chop the throttle, whatever it might be. So one of the things that we can diagnose, right? So some of these symptoms is you're getting to the edge of the track too early, or you're having to roll off the throttle. We've apexed too early. So we simply just need to turn in later to get that. And that's all based on how you're getting to the exit. Here we turn in too late. We turn in too late. And now we're closer to the second cone, and we're not using all the track on the exit. So not using all the track on exit, again, we can simply go, okay, cool. I'm not using all the track on exit. Then I can turn in earlier. And that's going to, again, get me to my exit apex sooner. And then I'll start using all the track. So I think right there are two really key things that we can look at. And even if, to be clear, even if there's not apex cones there, how you're getting to your exit determines this. So again, you're not using all the track on the exit, turn in a little bit earlier. And there's some other things too, right? You can get your eyes, throttle application, all those things. But generally you're apexing too late. You're getting to the edge of the track too early and not being able to use the throttle or have lean angle or steering wheel angle. You're having to add it or maintain it. And that's typically too early of a turn in. So regardless if we have apex cones or not, you can get some good things from there. So let's take a look at a couple other things that will help us here. I've heard this one quite a bit, which is, well, okay, well, I'm on my apex, but I'm simply just wide of it. Well, awesome that you've got good direction, right? You've got good trajectory, but I have news for you. You're not going to be able to add speed to that at some point. At some point, if you try to keep maintaining that, you're going to end up running a lot of lean angle in this area. And then you're going to have throttle, you're going to have grip issues, right? Or safety issues at that point. So even if you're wide of your apex, yeah, you might be pointed well, but as you try to add speed to that, it's going to be a problem. So yeah, we've got some good things there as well. Now let's talk about slow point and control usage. If we determine that this is an exit corner, we're just using it for our sake of argument, right? Exit corner, the exit lasts longest than the entry. Then the idea is we would want to be starting our throttle, our positive acceleration as we go past the apex. So that requires us to be lined up with the apex before the apex. It requires our slow point to be early so we can start that acceleration process. So there's another massive amount of information that this holds for you. If this happened to be an entry corner, meaning this entry lasted longer than the exit, then we would want to use the brakes to the apex or past the apex. So again, the apex becomes a huge point of reference for control usage as well. And then we can get into some other things of like neutral throttle. How much neutral throttle do you have? And then again, are you still picking the throttle up past the apex or using the brakes? Or are you coasting through it? All those different types of things. Another one we talked about is what you're doing with lean angle or steering wheel angle. So the whole idea is we want to be taking away lean angle on an exit corner as we go past it. So we want to be decreasing it. Are we taking it all the way? No, you're still going to have steering wheel angle or lean angle at that point. Of course you are. But the idea is that when we start to pick the throttle up, we want to take away some and then be able to continue taking it away as we get to our exit. We just don't want to be in a position where we're adding or maintaining while we're under a heavy throttle load. That's really what where we get in trouble. So apexes, they, yeah, I mean, it's so funny, right? We learn about apexes early when our in our motorsports journey, and it's easy to sort of dismiss them. But I really want to reintroduce them to you, and I want to reintroduce them to you as your information center around the track. They hold so much information, right? They, again, let's go through it, right? They hold the trajectory that you might have, your control usage, what your eyes are doing, what you're doing with steering wheel angle or lean angle, where your slow point is, how much neutral throttle do you have, all these different things. And all of that is taken from the apex. So if you're missing apexes, yeah, you need to get your act together. It's because I know you want a better lap time. Well, I want you to have a better lap time. And apexes really are the cornerstone of safety and speed in this sport.